And Mr. Tapley here to walk you through your next lesson of Year 10 Geography in Week 6, Term 2. This lesson, we're trying to take some of the theory we've learned about climate change and look at the real-world effects in 2020. I'm trying to link it in to something that's very topical, very in the news, which is the coronavirus. So our learning intention is to connect human activities in 2020 to climate change variances, so differences, changes in 2020. So how has climate change changed in 2020 with the unique situation we find ourselves in? Success criteria is to explain how climate change has been impacted by COVID-19 and how these changes will affect future environmental change. So, this lesson will be connecting our geography studies to current events, examining the impact of COVID-19 to climate change in 2020. These social and economic restrictions enforced by COVID-19 have profoundly impacted human activities contributing to climate change. The reduced level of manufacturing, so there's less business obviously, less construction, there's less transport, people aren't driving along the roads anymore, less travel, so there's less transport and travel by car, by plane, by boat, and business has led to positive environmental change. For example, in China, NO2 levels, which is just a fancier version of CO2, so basically carbon dioxide, have dropped by 30% after lockdown restrictions started in late January, and coal consumption fell by 40% from January to April. So if you look at this graph over here on the right, this graph compares NO2 concentration in the air between April 1st and April 15th in 2019 with that blue line, and 2020. And you can see New York, Madrid, Mexico, London, Paris, Delhi, Wuhan, and Rome. You can see that the NO2 concentration in the air and the atmosphere is significantly higher in 2019. So with everyone staying indoors and less business and less travel, the environment is actually healing. It's actually improving, which is a really positive environmental change. The environmental health of our air, water, and land has improved during COVID-19 restrictions. So we talked about, when we looked at pollution, that you can have pollution that's impacting the air quality, you can have pollution that impacts the water quality, and also the land. So the environmental health of everything, everywhere, is improving during COVID-19 restrictions. So you can see here, it's a bit hard to read these colorful little pictures. Less international travel has led to a decrease in carbon emissions. So planes use up a lot of CO2 emissions. The global aviation industry, so flight industry, produces over 2.5% of all human CO2 emissions. And in March 2020, it's been cut in half, essentially. Industry shutdowns and decreased foot traffic have led to less pollutants in waterways, so less rubbish is getting into the water, less pollutants, chemicals getting into the water. For example, in the first 3 months of 2020, China saw a decrease in chemicals in their water. With less tourists and less pollution, even the water in the Venice canals seemed clearer. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of the city of Venice in Italy, but it's this really cool city in Venice, which is essentially a floating city. So instead of having footpaths, they have water. And it's actually highlighted in that video down the bottom, which I'll briefly show you in a moment. But the water in Venice has become clearer now. You can actually see through the water. It's not foggy like the Yarra water. Just to dunk on Melbourne for a minute. Less traffic in busy cities means there's less CO2 emissions. With more people staying in, traffic has dropped in some of the world's busiest cities, with up to 30% decreases in cities like Los Angeles, Bangkok, and reportedly empty roads in others like Manila and Jakarta. I think I mentioned this before, but I actually live up in Warburton, up in the Yarra Valley, which is like an hour and a bit of a commute, and it's been ridiculous seeing the difference in traffic before and after coronavirus restrictions. It's just been ridiculous. And you look at pictures of these major cities like LA and New York, and it's just ghost towns. It's weird. But it's having a positive impact on the environment. And I'll just show you where that video is located very quickly. So it's only 2 minutes 49, and you can see it shows you some of the water in Venice, and if you go through the video, it gives you a bit of information about how the coronavirus has led to some positive impact in the environment. I think it's important to highlight the positives during some less than positive experiences. So, you can see a few of these pictures popping up probably on the web, on social media, and news articles as well. There's a good one that shows how you can see, it's a before and after shot of the Himalayan mountains. And you can see in the first picture, the before picture, it's basically just a cloud. It's basically, there's nothing. There's just foggy smoke. But the after the restrictions brought on by coronavirus, you can actually see the mountains from miles and miles and miles away. So this is a picture of Los Angeles, US represent. Before and after lockdown restrictions were enforced, you can see the cars on the road, you can see the smog, that air pollution, a bit of light pollution. And then look at this. That's ridiculous. That looks like it's been photoshopped. It doesn't even look real. It's amazing. Anyway, so you can just notice the difference in air pollution and smog, which almost covers the city skyline in the first image. And again, you can see images like these all over the world. So, what are we doing this lesson? 3 questions. Please complete the following questions in your digital notebook. Before you start the questions, I highly recommend that you read this news article here, which I've hopefully opened. Yep. So this news article here is from Vice, a very good news organization. They did the DRC, the Congo documentary that we watched in class in term 1. And it talks about some of the positives brought about by COVID-19 restrictions. And you can see it gives you, it's just, my one criticism of this site is that it's just ridiculously hard to navigate. It's just like, this page could be half the size if they get rid of all these stupid ads. But anyway, so it gives you some information. You can see it's got those images that I used in our slides. It talks about air, land, again, nice little graph I've stolen there, water, some new information that I've left out, obviously, because I didn't want to have 7 billion slides, traffic congestion. And yeah, so I recommend you read through this news article there, which is probably like 7 words total, but they've just stretched it out with these big-ass pictures and ads everywhere. So read the news article and then answer these 3 questions in your digital notebook. Question 1. Outline the positive environmental impacts of COVID-19. So consider the effects of lockdown restrictions on climate change and pollution. So climate change and pollution are human-caused activities. So basically you're thinking, okay, what are humans not doing that's going to be leading to these positive impacts of COVID-19. So read through the article, the slide should give you information on that. I've said outline, so you don't have to explain the science behind some of these changes. You just need to list them, basically. State these changes. Question 2. Reflect on whether these positive changes will continue to occur in 2021. In your response, justify why or why not you believe these changes will continue. So that's discussed in the article. This, oh yeah, you know, the environment's improving. But there is a belief or a concern that once the coronavirus restrictions are unlocked and we can just go outside and do business and travel and etc., all of these positive impacts will disappear overnight. So I'm asking for no wrong answer there. I just want your opinion. Do you think that these positive changes will occur in 2021, or do you think we will fall back into our old habits? And in your response, justify why or why not you believe these changes will continue. So that's more of a personal opinion there. You might say yes, no. The important thing is that you justify why or why not you believe. You can't just say, I believe this. You have to tell me why. Question 3. Explain what needs to be done in the future to maintain the positive environmental changes COVID-19 lockdowns have created. So again, you're thinking about in this question, all right, what has caused these positive changes? I'm going to write, we need to continue doing this. What is going to cause negative changes? We need to not do this. So you've looked at climate change, you've looked at human activities and pollution, deforestation, all those big topics we've looked at. Those are some of the things you can talk about in question 3 there. So a couple of sentences, smash it into your digital notebook. That's all I've got for this lesson. Before I wander off though, I do want to quickly touch on you guys returning to school. So obviously the Year 10s are not going to be on site over the next 2 weeks, starting May 26th, next Tuesday. But those of you who are doing a 1-2 VC subject will get to come into school for those subjects. And I understand that's going to be a bit stressful to balance your Year 10 studies, like geography, with your VC subject, because it's going to be taking time to actually get to school, to come back from school. I bet you they're going to be giving you lots of work when you get into the classroom because you've been absent for so long. So just be aware that your teachers are aware of that, and we will take that into consideration when we see things like, oh, Jono hasn't done the 3rd question here. or Jono's taking a long time to respond to my email. So we're going to try and build that into the lesson plans and make sure it's user-friendly, student-friendly, so we still have a few of those catch-up lessons in every week. That's our plan. So we are aware that it's going to be a bit harder for you guys living the double life, going to school for VCE and then at home for year 10. So we will try and do our best to support you during that. And if you have any ideas on how we can help, or if we're not doing it, if we're not helping at all, please let us know, and we'll do what we can to change that. And best of luck, guys. Cheers.